All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about some insight that was given to me on the Jermell Charlo, Errol Spence, and Terence Crawford potential fights. And in short, only one guy is beating Bud, and it may not be who you think, according to the experts that I spoke to. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 154-pound and the 147-pound division, talking about three of the best fighters in all of boxing: Jermell Iron Man Charlo, Terence Bud Crawford, and Errol Spence Jr., who, if everything was right in the world, would be involved in a three-way fight scheme that includes all three of them. Spoke with a guy that I have a lot of respect for in the boxing community, big-time guy as far as being an expert in the field. Not going to reveal his name because doesn't want that to be the case, but had some very, very interesting things to say about that fight. Now, before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. If you are a longtime subscriber, thank you so much for your support. Make sure you hit that like button before you leave the door. Also, there is a new way to support the channel if you're interested in, which is the super thanks. It's a little heart down below, which allows you to contribute towards the growth of the channel. Would be appreciated. But let's get into the subject matter. All right, so as most people know, the biggest fight that is being talked about right now, or the most important fight that's being talked about right now in the sport of boxing, is the Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. fight for the undisputed title at 147 pounds. However, I had a very, very good conversation with a good friend of mine, definitely one of the more knowledgeable people that I know of in the sport in boxing. Was a former title contender, a trainer, really knows the sport very, very well, and gave his insight about what he thinks, was really the big fight, the most significant fight in those weight classes, 147 pounds and 154 pounds. And surprise, surprise, it is not the Errol Spence Jr. fight with Terence Crawford. For him, he said for him, the most interesting one is the Jermell Charlo fight versus Terence Crawford. Now, I had told people before about different, people that I spoke to and predictions that they had for the fight, and why some people believe that Terence Crawford would be able to beat Errol Spence Jr. Other people believe that Errol Spence Jr. can beat Terence Crawford. The guy that I'm speaking to in this regard is somebody that believes in Terence Crawford's ability to beat Errol Spence Jr. And the reason why he says that he believes that Terence Crawford can beat Errol Spence Jr. is because they believe that Terence Crawford's, his versatility and his ability to throw, very quick, short shots on the inside will ultimately win that fight for him. But he said that the real issue with Terence Crawford is the fight that Terence Crawford says that he wants to have that does not include Errol Spence Jr., and that is the Jermell Charlo fight. Now, for him, he said, look, Jermell Charlo is one of the most underrated fighters in boxing, and he takes Jermell Charlo over anybody at 147 pounds and anybody at 154 pounds, and really believes that Jermell Charlo has come up under the radar and would be a huge, huge mistake for Terence Crawford to actually go up there and fight. Right. And the reason that he says it is because he believes that Jermell Charlo's combination of size and speed, his chin and his power will be too much for Terence Crawford. And he also said that, look, man, Jermell Charlo is somebody that has already proven that he can win and beat multiple styles. Talked about Tony Harrison and how good a fighter and underestimated fighter Tony Harrison is, and Tony Harrison's, boxing ability, his length, his ability to stay on the outside, his ability to move, and was like, look, Terence Crawford, Terence Crawford does not hold, the advantages that he holds at 147 pounds, at 154 pounds. As you guys know, Terence Crawford is somebody that, although he started at 135 pounds, moved to 140 and moved to 147, is for a welterweight still a relatively tall welterweight, long welterweight, and the height, and his reach advantage. And actually, when you compare that to Errol, I do believe that he has got a slight reach advantage over Errol Spence Jr. That stuff, he still has, certain power and length advantages at 147. But when he goes to 154, that against a guy, Jermell, who's a legitimate 5'10", is going to go away. So his thing was, look, I give, Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford, that is a fight that everybody wants to see. He picks, Terence Crawford to win the fight. Doesn't completely, doubt that Errol Spence Jr. may be able to win it, but it's like, no, the real severe fight, the biggest fight, and actually the biggest fight for both of those guys and the hardest fight for both of those guys is the 154-pound champion. Now, if Errol Spence Jr. is able to get past Terence Crawford and they actually make the fight, there is a big roadblock to Jermell fighting Errol. But what I've said and I've maintained is that for me is the most exciting fight that we can make in those weight divisions. Might be the most exciting fight you can make in boxing, because both of those, that is going to be him. Jermell Charlo versus Errol Spence Jr. would be an absolute positive war. Those guys, you got a southpaw and an orthodox fighter, but they're also very familiar with each other. Jermell Charlo is somebody that really doesn't take steps backwards often, even though he does have the ability to box, and he showed that, earlier in his career. But those two guys going head to head, that's the fight that I want to see as much as any fight. Now, Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. is a big deal because Terence Crawford has been on the pound for pound list for so long, and as such, really isn't an exciting fight. But there is, a possibility that Terence Crawford could go into the fight with Errol and fight like Amir Khan says he should fight, which is just stay on the outside, and just try to outbox Errol over the course of 12 rounds. I don't see that happening, but, there's a possibility of that. With Errol Spence Jr. and Jermell Charlo, though, there is absolutely no doubt about it. There's going to be a war. Same thing with Terence Crawford and Jermell Charlo. So, either way it goes, if this Errol Spence Terence Crawford fight doesn't get made, I certainly hope that one of the two of those get to go and fight Jermell. I would give the advantage to Jermell over Terence Crawford. I don't really know who I would give the advantage with Errol and Terence, because, just Errol is just such, man, it's going to be so hard to beat that guy in a fight if you don't knock him out, because of the fact that he's going to put so many rounds in the bank just by having so much volume. But anyway, I just thought that was an interesting take you guys might be interested in, that the real challenge for Terence Crawford, according to my guy, is Jermell, and that, he really sees that as being, the most, the highest, quality matchup that you can get out of Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, and Jermell Charlo, the combination of those three fighters who are the only champions between 147 and 154 pounds. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.